Well, hello and welcome back to GearHeadGeeks. A few years ago, I bought a plasma cutter, and I unboxed it, I set it aside, and I was going to put it together and use it, and I never got around to it. So why don't we go on ahead, finish assembling it, or start assembling it, and see if the goofy thing works. So let's get to it. Well, so here is our plasma cutter. It's nothing fancy. It has not been assembled at all. The instructions are almost completely worthless, but I think we can glean. This is about all you get for it. They just kind of give you a diagram of what's what, and they don't really tell you how to assemble it or anything, but that's okay. We will see what we can do. We have a bag of goodies here. Hopefully I haven't lost anything. And I guess we can start with the, it's got a regulator and water trap, which this guy has a nut on it. And we'll probably be taking it on and off a little bit because it's, we got to put some fittings on this, but that's in place. Okay, and here's some fittings. So we got a whole bunch of fittings in here, so we'll just kind of play it by ear and see what we have. Okay, so it looks like we have an in and an out, and this is for what seems to be here. They don't really tell you what it's for. Let's take a look at it again. And they call that the, and they do not tell you what that is. But they do show a line going from here to here. So we're going to assume it's this guy. It comes with some Teflon tape, and I've got some right here, so we'll just use this stuff. And whenever you're winding on Teflon tape, you wind it like you're turning it on, like you're putting it onto, like you're screwing it onto the tape. So you just take it, and we'll just wind it on so that it goes on, and the tailing end will be the tailing end. Okay, take this, and we'll wind this guy on here. Okay, and then it's like it's about a 10? No, it's about a 13, maybe a 12. 12 millimeter? Yeah, it's a 12 millimeter. So we'll just take this, and hopefully I can aim this in the right direction. Okay, that's tight. We'll take that and turn it like that. And so what we have here is we have this piece of hose right here, which seems to fit. So let me make sure there's nothing else there. That looks close. Nope. Nope. Nothing else. So you get this guy. And I guess you just want to take it and cut it so that it's going to fit between there and there. So let's push this in. Yep. And then we'll take this guy and we'll cut him right about there. Okay, so let's give him a cut right about. Now let's go a little bit longer. We can shave it off if we need to, but. Alright, let's take this guy, and that seems to be it. Okay, so now there's a hose that goes, this is your output. And so we'll take a little Teflon tape, wind it on, we'll give it another lap. This is pretty thin stuff. Okay, and we'll just take this guy and wind him in there. And this looks like it's about a 9/16 or 14 millimeter. So I'll take a 14, and yep, that's what it is. Kind of a loose fit, which is not great, but we'll see. It up. It's got some Teflon tape in there, so hopefully it's not going to be leaking all over the place. And then it seems that we have a piece of tubing that goes from here down to here. So let's get a we'll take this and slide this on. Take our hose clamp and slide it on there. You go get something to tighten these hose clamps with. And we'll go on ahead and tighten this guy up. Maybe pretty cheesy hose clamps. Not pretty cheesy, really cheesy. Come on, you can do it. There we go. Get a screwdriver here. Okay, now what we need to do is take this guy, and we'll look at our instructions again. Yep, and it just shows for going from here to the bottom. Okay, and we'll give it a nice relaxed fit. Hopefully these wire cutters will do the trick. Yep. Put on our hose clamp, and hopefully I didn't cut that too short. Nah, that's just right. Okay, now what we need here is this being our air inlet. We need to figure out how we're going to get air into this. I do believe let me get a fitting. I'm not too sure about these fittings at the moment. Well, maybe this will be okay. I don't know. Not looking. Oh, just fine. Perfect. Good. So let me wind on some of this tape. Yank that off of there. And we'll just screw this right in. This will allow us to use a one more. Let's get a 15 instead of a 14. Weird. Okay, so we've got our regulator, air trap put on, our hose put on. Now we can go on ahead, let me get this out of the way. We can go on ahead and put on our terminals, our cutting head, and we'll see how all this goes. So here's our cutting head, and the good part is this thing's fairly long, which is good. That means I can actually use it. What isn't very long is this, so we may have to deal with that. But this guy is nice and long, which is really good. So we can take this and we'll just screw him onto there. Okay, make sure it's nice and tight. Now there's a plug right here for this. Okay. Where might this go? Well, let's get our ground wire going here. You know, one would think that the ground wire would be the same length as the cutting head wire, but no, not in this case. That's okay, we can find a way to get something to ground. You just take this, turn it in, and so far so good. Now I just have to figure out where this yellow wire goes. It could be that, red wire, excuse me. Take this guy and kind of get him out and see. And the tip is nice. It comes with an extra tip, you know, and you have this guy, which is supposed to go like this, and then that way you can just kind of hold on to things. This gets you the right distance away for cutting. It's got a little guard on it. But what is confusing here is, where does this go? Now, it doesn't pull anymore. I don't know what it goes to. Never mind, I found it. They just don't mention it in the instructions, but there's just a connector. Goes right here. All you do is you just put on, there's a washer. You put this guy on, and then there's a screw. That's something to do with the arc. And put that nice and tight. And we are set up. Cool. So now, what we need here is we need to plug this guy in. Now I've got 220 over there, but it also says that it works with 110, I believe. I'm going to look. Installation. Be sure to connect the power cord to the appropriate power voltage and use the hookup to avoid internal. Typically the yellow stripe. Ensure the power cord is connected to the power switch to prevent oxidation. Make sure the proper voltage. And it doesn't tell you what it is. It says AC 90 to 260. So anywhere between 110 and whatever. And I do have an adapter. So we can try and run this on 110. Here's the adapter. Let's see if this is the right one. Now if I had some big heavy metal to cut, I could plug this into 220, but unplugging all the stuff to make my 220 work is a pain at the moment. We're just experimenting anyway. So we got this guy, and looks like he's the right one for this. Okay, so we can plug this into, well, let's just plug it in, see what it does, see if it blows any fuses. Okay, so far so good. We'll turn on the switch. Okay, here we go. There it is. Cool. And it turns off. So we need to get some air to it and something to cut. So I'll be back. So I have gone on ahead and I got a piece of flashing here just to protect all of this stuff. Because first of all, sparks flying around on a plastic floor is really bad. It burns holes and all that stuff. So we're not going to do that. But what I did do is I found a piece of 1/8 inch just of scrap. I got this as a little prop. And I've got a piece of what looks to be 18 gauge. And we'll just see how this does with 110 and see if it does the job. And if it does the job, we're all good. Okay, so the first thing I did, I've hooked up the air hose. So I'm going to go ahead and crank up the air. I have no idea how much. We're just going to play it by ear. I don't hear any big leaks at the moment. This is showing about, well, it's still going up. So this is our max. We got it at max air. We've got power. Let me go get a pair of gloves on and we'll give this guy a rip. And if you need good gloves, these Black Stallions 27D, they're fairly thin. They're a little dirty at the moment, but they are really, really good gloves and you can kind of feel what's going on. Not bad at all. Okay, so we're going to try with the 1/8 inch first and see how that does. So the first thing we need to do, we'll hook this guy up, make sure he's got a good ground. Further back. All right. We'll put this here so that we don't have too much stuff floating around. I think that's good enough. We'll see what splatters out of that. I guess we should wear a welding helmet with it. It's arc. It just seems like a prudent thing to do. Okay, so that's that. We'll turn it on. We're going to max out our power. I don't know what it means. I really, really don't. But we've got air, we've got power. Let's see here. Let's see if everything is trying to work anyway. It looks like when you touch it, I'm just checking, and the air stays on even though your arc is off, and then it slowly backs off. Okay. All right, here we go, boys and girls. Are we ready? I've got this guy sitting on the metal. I've got it grounded. I've got it turned on. Let's see what it does. Not much at the moment. Nothing as of yet. Is my arc too far away, maybe? Okay. That blew a hole in it. I'm going to turn down the air a bit. Maybe it's just blowing it out. Hey, that's different. Oh boy. Yeah, look. Taking care of it. That's impressive. Away from the floor. Oh yeah, that just works. That is amazing. I've got it turned down to about, oh, looks like about 15 pounds of air, and it blew through this 1/8 inch like nothing. I mean, like nothing, and it's a really clean edge. That's sweet, and it blew right through it blew through this guy too. So you do need a little more protection, but that's okay. You just lost a little bit of paint there. Yeah, that worked. So let's go on ahead and try it with, well, we don't work with 1/8 inch, so it's usually going to work with this, but what the heck? Let's just take a chunk out of it. Why not? So here we go. I'm going to roll the air down, leave it a little more. I probably got way too much current. Let's roll this back to mid-range and see what it does. That's a little too fast. Yeah, it needs a little more air than that. Needs to be right about maybe 10. Because I don't think it has enough to blow away. It's melting it, but it doesn't blow anything away. And that's good. About 10 pounds. And this should be about 15, I would think now that I look at it. But it goes right through this stuff. And maybe the current. Yep, about 15 pounds, a little bit of current, and this thing just works super. This is great. I mean, you know, it'd take me a little bit of practice, but this is nothing. I mean, super easy. Just make sure you have it shielded. It's not blowing things all over the place. Keep your air pressure way down, about 15 pounds. Run your current up. If it's not going through it, you could run your current up. It's great. That's sweet. That was a complete success. Turn it off. Maybe. Off. I guess it cools by itself. Cools off. This is great. Okay. So once I play with it a little bit, now let me drop everything here. This is where I was just kind of waving around, just doing some little freestyle pattern on it, you know, and I didn't cut all the way through, and it just blows through this 1/8 inch like it's nothing. This would easily go through 1/4 inch. And this was where I had not enough air going through it, but it was blowing through, and it almost made it through. This was about 10 pounds air. It needed to be about 15. But it's a pretty reasonably good cut. This was a little too much air, but it made kind of a wide gap through it. but it still went right through it. It's just hanging on with the little piece, but it's clean cut all the way through. And if you had to go cut something long and you had something to guide it, it would work perfectly. This is really, really cool. I didn't realize. And the good part is, all that I got to do now is just set it over with the rest of my welders. I can run it on 110, and if it's at 220, it might even, if I had to do a whole bunch of work, but 110's working just great. So why would I want to change? This thing is sweet. It is really, really nice. I just need to put it away and have it ready for the next use. The only thing I can see that could be improved here is the length of this. This needs to be a longer cable. So I need to get some more cable, solder it on there, and put it on the end. But other than that, this thing's dynamite. This is really, really cool. And when I had too much air in it, I was using this piece of galvanized, and it just blew through that also. And tried to blow through my stand. But other than that, once you get the air dialed in a little bit, instead of it being 50 pounds, you need 15, it stops doing that. And it just, you know, it burns through some stuff, but this is good enough to guard it. Just don't use 50 pounds. And there you have it. A super simple, easy to set up, not relatively inexpensive, very inexpensive plasma cutter. Works great. It is just perfect for doing those kind of jobs where you don't want to be, you know, you got a big piece of metal or something and you need to, you know, make a good cut. It looks like it cuts clean. There's a couple tips installed that came with it. It's, you know, just hook it up to your air and 110 and you are good to go. Well, that was very simple. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and we'll see you next time here on GearHeadGeeks.